Okay, we are reaching the time in your high school career where you start to hear kids talking about something called GPA, your grade point average. So I wanted to shoot a video. It's probably going to be a rambling video because I'm not exactly sure what I want to talk about, but I'll figure it out. Um, and let's start with why we have a GPA. Well, we need to know, how well you did in school, and GPA is a good way to rank how well you do while you're here. So, what does GPA actually find? I mean, does it actually measure your smarts? Or does it measure how well you follow the rules? Or does it measure a combination of these things? Maybe just the big picture of GPA is it measures how well you fit into our system, how well you can get things out of your high school experience. So it's kind of a way to see how well you've done at what you've done here. So who cares about your GPA? Well, it depends on what your plans are after high school. If your plans are just to go out and get a job immediately, and you don't need any other kind of education to get the job that you want, then GPA may not matter as much to you as it matters to someone else who has to go to some kind of school after high school. There are jobs around where all you have to do is fill out your application. They say, did you get your diploma? Because if you're able to get a diploma, that means that you're able to follow the rules in high school and do well enough to get the credits that you need to graduate. So at the very least, you do need a diploma, but some companies, or many companies, I don't know, aren't too worried about GPA. But if you want to go to college, a 2-year school or a 4-year school, then GPA is going to matter to you because colleges can be picky. If there's a lot of kids applying to a certain college, they want the kids who are going to be the most successful. So they're going to look at the kids who have the highest GPAs. Just as an example, I went out and I did some Googling, and I found this. It says, study. High school grades are the best predictor of college success, not your ACT or your SAT scores. So kids who do better in high school, that studies have shown that kids who do better in high school do better in college. So that's a predictor. So if you're a college and you're looking at what kids you're going to pick, you're going to pick kids who have better GPAs. Is it because they're smarter, or is it because that they're able to say, oh, this kid follows the rules, they've done what they're supposed to do? I'm not sure which one it is. Maybe it's a combination of both. But anyway, so colleges use it, universities, and I wasn't very surprised to find this. This was up on the screen a minute ago. Like if you want to get into the Army, you have to have a grade point average of 2.5 and an SAT score of at least 920 or a 19 on your ACT. So in the old days, it used to be if you could go to the Army and if you had a pulse, they'd take you. But now the military, like look at the Air Force, 2.5 GPA. It's pretty similar to the Army. But anyway, nowadays the armed services are getting pickier because there's people who want to get in. So if more people want to get into the Army or the armed services than there are jobs, the armed services can be selective. They can pick the best candidates. So believe it or not, yes, the military looks at your GPA. So those are a couple of examples of who uses your grade point average, and that's why you don't hear freshmen down here, at the early part of the year. You don't hear them talking about it. But if you talk to seniors and juniors, you start to hear these kids talking about GPA quite a bit. So GPA, how it changes over time. This is pretty interesting to me. So your GPA changes over time for almost all kids, and here's what I mean. You guys are right here. We're almost halfway done with our first year of high school. So we're right around this red line right here. And we are going to all get a GPA when we finish this semester. That's going to be in January sometime. So this first GPA that you're going to get, that GPA can change very easily. Let me explain why. let's just say that each of these semesters, there's 8 semesters here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you're going to go to school for 8 semesters. Let's just say that each semester was $1. So right here, you come into high school, how many dollars do you have? You have $0. So getting that first dollar at your first semester is kind of a big deal. You've taken your money and you've gone from 0 to 1. Well, what happens over here? After your freshman year is over, I'll give you a second dollar, let's say. We're just speaking figuratively here. You doubled your money. That's a big deal. So a single dollar is not a big deal, but doubling your money, that is a big deal. So when you get out to, let's say here, the end of your junior year, you've got $6, and you're going to school this semester right here, and then you get your 7th dollar. How big of a change is it from $6 to $7? It is a change of $1, yes. So it's kind of the same as this change, $1 to $2, but the percentage change is much, much less. The percentage change from 6 to 7 is a smaller number than the percentage change from 1 to 2. Here it's 100% change, and over here it's something less, like 16 or 17% or something like that. So if you're a kid who's like, you did really, really crappy your freshman year, you've got 3 more years that you can change your grades. And so you can bring that, I messed that up. Oops. You can bring your GPA up quite a bit from your freshman year to your senior year. But by the time you're, a junior, once you reach halfway through your junior year here, let's say you were like a D- student all the way up through here, you had a very low grade point average all the way through, you're getting D's and D- and stuff. And then right around here, all of a sudden you realize, oh my goodness, I should have been taking this seriously. And then you start getting B's, maybe A's. And what happens then is your grade point is going to go up, but since you've already got all this baggage of low grade point average, your grade point average doesn't change as much as you might have thought it would. So like, let's say you're a senior, and the seniors right now are right around here, right? So these guys, whatever they get this semester, this last semester isn't going to change their grade point much at all, because they've already earned 7/8 of their grades. This last semester, their spring semester, that's only going to be 1/8, or about 12.5% of their grade. Whereas you guys, you've only earned 12% of your grade as of right here, and you've got another 88% to go. So I've reached 8 minutes, and I haven't really done what you guys probably really care about, which is how to figure out your GPA. So I'm going to go through just a quick explanation of how the grades work, and then I'm going to show you a couple web pages, or one web page that'll do it for us. So in Beaverton, our highest grade is A, and so that is what we call a 4-point. A B is what we call a 3-point, and it goes on down from there. And if you flunk a class, you don't get your credit at all. So right there's the cutoff for credit. So each one of your classes that you take is worth points. And in Beaverton, all of our classes are worth the same number of credits. Every semester is worth a half a credit, so a whole year of a class is worth 1 credit. So that keeps the math nice and easy. So before I go to the website, let me just use this example. Let's say you take 2 classes and you get 2 A's and 2 C's. Well, if you take 2 A's and 2 C's, so I got 4 and 4, so my 4-point and my 4-point, my A and my A in these 2 classes, and then my 2 C's in my other 2 classes. Let's say I just had 4 classes. What does that add up to? 4 and 4 is 8, 9, 10, that adds up to 12. And so how many classes did I have? How many credits did I get? I got 4. So 12 divided by 4 is a 3.0. That would be your grade point average. That should make sense to you guys, because if in half your classes you got A's, in half your classes you got C's, that averages out to what's in the middle, a B. Okay, so if you don't dig math and you don't want to do all this stuff, there are websites out there. I just Googled one and I found this one. It's called gpacalculator.net. And you can type in the names of your classes, or if you're too lazy, you can say Class 1, Class 2, Class 3, and Class 4. And let's say you get, and for Beaverton, we don't do A pluses here. Some schools are wacky and they do that stuff, but you only say you get a B plus in one class that was just 1 credit, and let's say you get a B minus in some other class that was 1 credit, and in class number 3, let's say you get an A, that's 1 credit. And in class 4, let's say you didn't do very well in there, you got like a D plus, let's say, and that was 1 credit. You can add more classes if you want to. You can say class number 5 or whatever you want. Call it Spanish or something. The name of it doesn't really matter. And let's just say in Spanish we got an average grade, a C, and it's worth 1 credit. So as we've been going along here, it's been keeping track of what our grade point average is, 2.67. So there are websites you can go to and they'll do the math for you, but the math to figure out your GPA isn't really that hard to do. So I've gone almost 11 minutes. I would imagine that there's got to be a question or two out there, so we'll cut off the video here and see what's what.